And good evening, Commanders, and welcome back to the final episode of my '07 Law Tour. Right on, Commanders. It's an absolute privilege to be here once again for this final instalment, and I hope you're looking forward to it. We have a bit of an epic trip to take our way tonight. To retrace the steps of one very, very long and exciting mission, which we'll talk all about as we get into it. But thank you very, very much for joining me. Means a lot to see so many names actually from the past popping up on the stream. This takes us back many, many years into the lore and the history of Elite Dangerous, and it's lovely to see so many old names in the chat, old names in the game as well that I haven't seen in many cases for many, many years. So it's fantastic to see you all. I see quite a few new folks in the chat as well, and new Commanders as well joining us. So welcome one and welcome all to the last tour. We are going to retrace some steps of a very famous voyage this evening. So fantastic to have you aboard. It's going to be a good one. We're going to make a special end for all my Elite Dangerous time. So thank you very much for coming along and being a part of it. I do appreciate it very, very much indeed. Very, very humbled by the number of people who've turned up, and come out a long way as well. So we're 1,000 light years away from the core systems at the moment. That's a big deal. So thank you very much for coming out as far as you have to make this farewell tour. This is good, brilliant stuff. So. Right, we better get on with it then, because we've got lots to do and places to go. Now, let me get into the game view. I am aboard, if I can get this to work. And why is my camera not working? There it is. Magic. Put that back in. Hopefully the chat will start responding as well. I am on. Now, if you are still on your way out to us, you need to head for 46 Iridani and the DSEF Distant Worlds Fleet Carrier. That is where we are rendezvousing tonight. That's where we are starting from. It's a very special place in the Elite Dangerous lore. And it is, by the way, if you didn't get the memo, it's Bring a Clipper to Work Day today, okay? So, or any other long-range ship, but the Imperial Clippers all will be explained, my friends. All will be explained. So, one quick thing I did want to point out at the beginning. You will obviously have had to update your client today in order to get the Elite Dangerous Horizons to work, and obviously Odyssey if you're playing that as well. We're playing in the Horizons client tonight, so that's very important. You need to be in the Wagar private group or you won't be instanced in, so make sure you check all those kind of things. Do also check your fire groups, okay? For some reason the update today has deleted your fire groups, so check those just in case you get interdicted by an NPC or something else goes wrong. Make sure your fire groups are reset, otherwise your guns won't work. Very important to check. All right, so let's do that. Some people are bringing their Cobras to work day. The reason for the Clippers will become apparent. Okay, now I do also need to know, and I don't know if he's on yet, but when Commander Techeron, when you are online, either in the chat or in game, ping me a message so I know that you're about. Okay, so if anybody sees Commander Techeron, there's an important thing that we need to do. So once Techeron is on board, either in game or on the chat, then please do let me know. That would be really, really good. So right, so no further ado, why are we here in 46 Iridani in the arse end of nowhere in space? Now Techeron is here, he's online. Excellent, that's really good. So what I want to do actually before we start the main topic tonight, obviously, which is about Salomé, I do want to take a moment out, and I really appreciate all of your help on the stream and in the game for this. This is a poignant thing, actually. Commander Techeron let me know last week of a sad loss in his family. His grandmother passed away, and the funeral was in fact today, just before the stream now. Commander Techeron spoke to me about this, and I said I would read something out for him on the stream, and I would appreciate if you guys would just, once I finish, just give Commander Techeron and his grandma, his departed grandma, an 07 from the Elite Dangerous community, if you would be so kind. So I'm just going to read something, and I just wanted to, just to let you know in advance. This is from Commander Techeron. My grandma Hildegard was 77 years old when she died last Thursday. It was due to cancer, and the same happened to my dad in 2017. Fortunately, I was able to give her a proper goodbye and said everything I wanted before it was too late. She lived with me and my mum in the same flat since I was born, and she was always positive no matter how bad the situation seemed. She did a lot of community work and was a party queen when she was younger and cared for me like a second mother. Due to me being autistic, it wasn't easy for the whole family, but they tried their best to help me out on various different things, and so did she. She also watched me playing Elite sometimes, admiring how well I would pilot the Imperial ships, and she would also go on and share any kind of project I did in public with everyone she knew, because I'm often performing speeches and lectures about autism in public, and I think that I made her proud. She always told me that it's important to focus on life goals, and it's in my decision what I want to do in the future. I am in my last year of high school. There's a lot of pressure going on, and while I visited her every week in hospital during her final weeks, she always mentioned that she didn't want my school performance to suffer from that. One of the last things I did was I promised I will pass this year's final of school and continue to be successful with my projects for her. This is now my goal, and even when it's going to be a tremendous challenge for me, the passing of my grandma wasn't the only heavy loss this year, but I will give my best, and I'll do it for her memory, and to make her proud, as I always did in her eyes. So, Commander Techeron, certainly on behalf of me and on behalf of, I'm sure, the entire Elite Dangerous community, huge appreciation to your grandma, Hildegard, and an absolutely sincere 07 from me. So sad to hear that, but take it from me, my friend, you will go on to do great things. Keep her words in your mind at all times, and from us, the Elite Dangerous community, right on, Commander, and 07. Right, my friends, with that sad duty done, but with Commander Techeron very much uppermost in our minds, it is time to move on. It is time to move on and continue our voyage. Now, why are we here in 46 Iridani? We are retracing the steps of Salomé. Now, who was Salomé? Now, Salomé was originally an imperial senator from the Prism system. In fact, she was born in the Haoria system, which you can look up in Elite Dangerous. You will find a little bit about Kahina on the official Elite Dangerous wiki page, and you can also read about her in various books, which I'm sure I don't need to mention. And her story, she basically was a bit of a spoilt brat. She was an imperial senator, the youngest imperial senator actually in imperial history, and she was the third daughter of a rather nasty gentleman called Algreb Loren, who sanctioned bombings of carpet bombings of planets and various other bits and pieces. So not a particularly nice individual, and to be honest, Kahina wasn't a particularly nice individual either. She was the third daughter. She was born really only to be married off for the political convenience, and so had rather a chip on her shoulder. And her story is told in the various books that I wrote. Now, after her initial adventures, she had a bit of a change of heart, having seen the wars that she caused, and tried to make up for them, and that resulted in her furthering the cause of exploration. And she did in fact go on Distant Worlds 1. So who remembers Distant Worlds 1? That was many years ago. She went to Beagle Point in an Ice White Asp Explorer, which was the best ship available at the time for that kind of thing. That ship, in fact, is parked on this very fleet carrier. So the Distant Worlds fleet carrier, which will hopefully at some point in the future be prepared for Distant Worlds 3, does play host in its museum to the Ice White Asp that Salomé actually did take to Distant Worlds 1. It also plays host to the wreck of the Seven Veils. Now, the Seven Veils we'll talk about a little bit more, but that's another ship that Salomé flew, and it was obviously destroyed. We'll talk a little bit about that too. And the wreck of the Seven Veils is also in the museum aboard the Distant Worlds DSEV. So this ship has a special place in the Salomé lore, and aboard it are the vessels forever ensconced and preserved that Salomé flew during her short life. many moons ago. So the reason we're in the 46 Iridani system is this is where she started a desperate run from the edge of a Thargoid infested zone in the Cold 70 sector back to the bubble in order to try and expose the machinations of the club. Now, the club is something, again, you're going to have to research offline if you don't know about it. But what it basically was a major chase from here back to the bubble, under attack from pretty much, it certainly felt like it at the time, the entire Elite Dangerous player base. And we had to organise a run from here to, and we were aiming for the Tianizla star system. Tonight's stream is basically going to be a rerun of that run. Obviously, we're in a private group. We're not anticipating any trouble, but who knows? What I do have on screen, you may notice certain names in my wing. Now, Zenith, and I'm going to struggle with the pronunciation because I couldn't get it right then. I'm not going to get it right now. But Zenith Delgras, I'll do the best I can. Commander Eisen and Commander Isaiah Avanson are the crew, the wing people, the wingmates that Salomé had on that fateful evening back in 2017 or 3303. So with great thanks to them, they've come out of retirement this evening, especially for this event, in some cases reinstalling the game in order to do so. So the wingmen I have in my wing tonight are the same wingmen that Salomé had on that fateful evening all those years ago. So thank you very much to all three of them for coming back out of retirement for this run. They're going to escort me on as close as we can make it the same route that Salomé flew that evening. So that's the plan. We're going to be heading back to the bubble. So for all of you who are on the stream, what I suggest, if you're in the game and you're close to us, please wing up in groups of 3. Leave one slot open as best you can with other commanders around you, and we'll keep going from there. So let's start rolling. Now, when we were originally doing this, and I'm just gonna launch my ship. There we go. Let's launch it off the bat. There we go. Let's get up in here, and we'll start doing the run in a minute. I forgot. Yes, Cyberdama. Yes, the fleet carrier roll call. My apologies. Thank you very much for reminding. Let me do that first. That's very important as well, because I know quite a few people have brought their fleet carriers as well. Let's get that done as well. So yes, so obviously we're here on the distant worlds, but there are quite a few others here as well. Very good point. So let's go through them. The Tanilorn is here. Excellent, the Tanilorn. In fact, I took a trip out here on the Tanilorn, so thank you very much, Wintermute GB, for bringing the Tanilorn, because it saved me quite a lot of time in the week. Thank you very much for that. We have the Gala Tika. We have the JMC mining ship, the Red Dwarf. Excellent. What the smeg is that doing here? There's Nostalgia for Infinity is here as well. We obviously have the Distant Worlds. We have the Holy Hand Grenade. Counteth unto 3. Not 4, not 2, but 3. The Spirit of the Abyss. I like that one. Night on Earth. We have If You Build It, They Will Come. We have the Constellation Freedom. We have the Rexler Respite. Sorry for the lack of a bar there. They're working on it, aren't they? Hopefully. The Valhelm 07 Commander Wagar. Oh, that's really kind. Really kind. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Gravity is Desire. Ooh, deep and meaningful there. The Gilgamesh, as in the Epic of the Golgor Frincham Arc. Is that Arc B? Tradovic, excellent. We have the Shadowhead. We have the Drew David. Thanks, Drew David. Someone. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. The Yggdrasil. I've got no idea how you pronounce that one. Is that right? The Gorard. We have Hildegard Star. Ah, that must be Techeron's fleet carrier. The IMV Plenitude. The Valiant. The Megashite. The Fat Fook Noodle Bar. Yes, that's definitely a good place to go. The Stranic. 07 Drew Wager. Oh, you guys are too kind. You guys are too kind. Storm's Nest. The J Geis. The Ballymalice. the Comet Neowise, and finally the Silver Mountain. There we go. Trekking Beaver says 07 from the Former Line Rift as well. So yes, thank you very much, my friends. Thank you very much. It's very touching. Thank you very much indeed. I really do appreciate it. Right. Okay, so Isaiah, Zenith, and Eisen, you're going to have to remind me how I do this. How do we target the first system in line? Because I need to let people in the chat know as well. What's the best way of actually doing this? Because we had a nav lock last time, so I can see the thing. How do I hyperspace to the same locale? That's the question I need answering. It's 7 to highlight me. Right, there we go. 7 to highlight me, then 0 to lock on. Okay, so 7. Let's try this. Okay, 7. Yes, that worked. 0. Rock and roll. Okay. Webgear. 073. Will Besieger be making an appearance? I can't guarantee that he won't. Hopefully it'll be a little bit different this time. We're not under quite the same pressure as we were back then. Thank you, Zenith. That seems to have worked. So hopefully I've got a hyperspace targeting position. So I'm just let's just zoom outside because it's just lovely to see all these ships here. Let me just do that because there's a lot of ships here above the distant worlds fleet carriers. So let's just look around while we're here. We've got the Orion Nebula there in the background, which is just lovely. So thanks for bringing your ships. I do appreciate it. Now we are heading generally back to the core world. Okay, there's quite a lot of jumps involved. And we're going to be heading back there. We are heading ultimately for the Anumclaw system. I'll just quickly type that in the chat so you know roughly where we're going in case you get lost or instancing goes wrong or the stream collapses. That's where we're going to rendezvous towards the end of the stream. Okay, just so you know, and then we'll all meet there. And go on from that point from hyperspace jumps and shenanigans and all that kind of stuff. So that's where we're going. But let's get going. So we are heading back. You may need to watch the stream or look me up on the galactic map and follow me that way. That will be probably the easiest way. That's what people actually had to do on the night to try and intercept Salomé. So let's get back into the ship. So we are going to Sinufei MIX. In fact, the fleet carrier is in the way, so let me just move to the side and we'll continue rocking on there. Isaiah says it feels like it was just yesterday. This is actually 4.5 years ago, which is just insane, really. Okay, so we're heading in this direction here. Sinufei MIXB19-0. So I'll read them out. We're gonna rock and roll and do some jumps. Okay, so let's roll. So we are heading ultimately for the Anumclaw system. Keep an eye on your galaxy map. That's probably going to be the easiest way to keep up with this. We are heading back to the bubble. Yes, this is all way pre-COVID sort of stuff. This is all way pre-COVID. Right, rock and roll. So let's. Zenith, Eisen, Isaiah, do I engage the hyperspace or do you engage the hyperspace? I think I engage it. I'm going to engage it. Let's find out what happens. There we go. the crew is rolling again once more. This is exactly how it was back then, just slightly less stressful, I hope. Now we had done all sorts of preparation for this because Eisen says I'm the boss. This is excellent. Because we were trying to do something that had never been attempted before. At least never been attempted successfully before. So from a lore perspective, Salomé was trying to race back to the core worlds to deliver a message. From the perspective of the game, I'm hoping my wing will appear in a moment. I'm just going to refuel. Let's see how well the instancing works today. Zenith says I engage. That's brilliant. Right, ships are coming in. I can see a ship coming in. This is very much like before. Where's my wing? There we go. My wing's right. As you noticed on the stream, my wing arrives with me. Now this is very important because okay. So Isaiah's a little bit slower. 29 light. So I can't remember what the range of my clipper is. Let's have a lock. Where does it tell me that? It's ship, isn't it? Okay, so mine 33 light years. Okay, so not too bad. There's flashbacks, seeing all the hollow boxes. So yeah, we're still getting PTSD from this. All right, we're still getting PTSD from this. All right, so Zenith has highlighted the next route. So this is how we did it. Okay, basically we're in a wing. We had a pre-calculated route that we needed to take, and the idea was that Salomé jumped and the wing followed her in, attempting to protect her at all times from anybody else who was around. Okay, we were doing this in open mode. Now, for those of you who played in open mode, you know that basically anybody can turn up at any time and attempt to attack you. That's the whole point of open mode. We wanted it to be in open mode because, well, at least I did. I'm not sure the guys did actually. There were some conversations. Particularly early on, basically along the lines of, what the are you thinking of doing here, Drew? We're all going to die. And I said, well, can it be done? Because what we'd observed is we'd watched Frontier do these sort of things, and they'd all got killed and slaughtered within about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, of going into open, trying to do any kind of lore-based stuff, and basically getting killed, getting stream sniped, whatever it happened to be. And so we basically said, what we won't do is we won't publish the route. We'll say we're gonna be out in the general direction of the Col 70 sector, but we I just need to wait for the guys to turn up. Actually, there we go. I can see one of them. Zenith hasn't yet arrived. There we go. Let's go around. So yes, we were out in the general vicinity of the coal sector, and we basically announced on the web that it was going to be a starting from 46 Iridani, but the destination was unknown, although it would be somewhere in the core worlds. And we basically said, come join with Salomé, basically try and keep her alive, or try and kill her. Okay, actually we advertised saying, no, we want you to try. We want you to try and kill her. Try and assassinate her. There we go, I've got the nav log. Thank you, Zenith, appreciate that. And so what we were attempting to do is create the first ever community event where there was a lore consequence. Okay, there was a lore consequence to what we were doing. Salomé was either going to make it or she wasn't going to make it. She was either going to arrive safely with the defenders hopefully intact, or she was going to get killed along the way. And either way, I basically said, whatever happens, happens, actually in the lore of the game. Okay, so lore consequences. Salomé will live or die based on what happens on that evening in the game, in open mode. The reaction of the people I was working with, who at the time were Loren's Legion and the Children of Raxxla factions in the game, was basically kind of absolute aghast initially. It's like, what the hell do you think you're doing? We will lose. She will die. Everything will go wrong. And I said, okay, so yes, and I've seen this on the whenever Frontiers tried it, they failed miserably to stay alive. Okay, is there a way that we can work around that? And the guys kind of went away for a bit and scratched their heads. Okay, and then they came back and basically said, well, one of the things that we can't afford to do is you can't afford to hang around. So we need to practice a way of navigating. We need to practice a way of moving quickly and trying to do evasive stuff. Now, one thing that we were very clear on is we weren't going to cheat. Okay, so there was going to be no combat logging or anything like that. Okay, we had to use genuine in-game mechanics to avoid anybody who was trying to kill us. All right. So our challenge was, how can we make the run as exciting as possible, still keeping the dynamics of the game and trying to make sure that it's survivable for us, but it also gives everybody a challenge. So the trick was open mode. Basically, bring whatever you can to the fight. You could either fight for or fight for against. Salomé is coming through one way or the other. All right, and as a result of that, various different factions sort of started basically saying they were for or against. Frontier, bless them, also put an option in the game itself. There was an option in the menu, on the comms menu at the time. to basically say whether you were for or against. You can actually advertise it if you wish to. So that was a nice touch. And let's slow down a second. We'll let the wing catch up. Right, I can do some talking while the wing's catching up. That's not a problem. So we were trying to make an event that was all as inclusive as possible, but with some consequences. Okay, whatever. I was writing an official book at the time, which was Elite Dangerous Premonition, and whatever happened was going to happen. Okay, Salomé would either live or she would die in this particular event, and there were the consequences that would happen either way as a result of that. And it was basically up to the players. Now, I had a wing of people around me who had practiced, long and hard to make sure that we had a fighting chance. So the wing organisation that you're seeing here, the pre-planned routes, the key cuts, which I've forgotten, but now they've reminded me how they work, in order to make sure we hyperspace simultaneously as near as possible. We all had compatible ships, so they all jump in the same ranges. We'd all made sure that we filled up with materials to make sure that we could do additional jumponium when when we need to. Can we shoot you down, Drew? Says Commander. No, you can't. So all those things have been thought about. We also had decoy Salomé accounts, so we didn't cheat. We didn't cheat by giving them all the same name. In fact, you're not allowed to. But we did have quite a few other clippers with variations on the name Salomé, either spelt slightly wrong or various other bits and pieces like that, as decoys running around in open mode trying to attract bad guys so that I didn't get caught. that was all sorts of bits and pieces that were going on. So we never cheated. I wouldn't accept that as an outcome. And we also named our ships the same. Yes, so all ships were called, all the ships in our wing were called the Seven Veils, and they were all clippers, and they were all white. And so we were trying to make sure that Salomé was as disguised as the game would allow us to be, in order to do this. Now, we did know that before this was tried, I think are we all together? Excellent, we are. Right, onwards we go. We were trying to do this. The best that had ever been achieved before was about 5 to 10 minutes, and then somebody somewhere with a highly engineered ship, would come out of nowhere and very, very quickly obliterate you. All right, because engineering. As a result of that, we basically took it and said we can't fight. We'll get overwhelmed very quickly. We haven't got the capacity and probably the skill necessarily. Some of the guys probably do. I didn't. to fight a highly engineered series of ships in space. We identified that the only strategy we really had that would work was to try and get through as fast as possible. And if we did get interdicted, is to try and avoid the interdiction in the first place. And if necessary, drop into real space to avoid getting interdicted in the first place. If you could see somebody closing up on you with hostile intent, then to drop into real space, even if you damaged your hull a little bit, because we had a fully stocked AFMU, whatever it is, in order to do that and repair the ship if we picked up damage. And so we could then thrust away into real space and try and get away from the instancing point if the attacking person dropped in. So there were lots and lots of strategies employed here to try and make sure that Salomé made it all the way through. And we were fully aware that nobody else had survived in open mode for more than about 10 minutes up until this point. And we were looking at something, we knew it was going to take quite a long time to get there, because we were fighting. So this is what we were up against. And then as this developed, now I didn't really initially think, I just wanted to do a lore event. I wanted it in open mode because I wanted to be accessible to as many people as possible. This was before there was even a PS4 version of Elite Dangerous, by the way. I think the Xbox was around, but I don't think the PS4 version had come out. So this is a long, long time ago. Elite Dangerous version 2.1, I think we were on at the time. So a lot of the things that we have now didn't exist back then. So the technology was more primitive and so on and so forth. And as a result of that, quite a few things are a little bit different now than how they were. So we were under no illusions that this was going to be potentially quite dangerous from a kind of game playing perspective. But we felt, having reviewed it and having tested it and having done a few rehearsals, we felt we had a fighting chance. We engineered our ships for speed and fast refueling rather than combat. So we thought, if we're going to lose in combat, there's no point even trying to win that fight. So the ships have to be engineered for running, basically, as fast as possible. So doing, Brave Sir Robins, etc. And so that's what we were attempting to do, is run as fast as we can across space. So that was the setup. Now what happened, and I didn't expect it to be vastly huge. I thought a few dozen players, maybe 100 players would turn up and start enjoying this kind of story that we were working. Completely underestimated what was going to happen next. Completely underestimated what was going to happen next. Because what happened next was it went a bit viral. Okay, it went a bit viral. There were some press articles that came out. So the likes of Polygon and Charlie Hall, some of you will know him, a great reporter who works for Polygon gaming magazine, picked up the story and said there's this thing about to go down in Elite Dangerous, because we'd publicised the date, 29th of April, 2017, and as a result of that, more and more people started hearing about it. And look, and then this is exactly the situation. You see that this is the terrifying thing that we had during the day. Is my wing would appear, and then the rest of the scanner would be full of players all the time, every single jump, and you didn't know if they were hostile, you didn't know if they were about to attack you, didn't know if they were friendly, and so on and so forth. You just kind of had to get out the way. I'm getting real flashbacks to that evening now. And you have to remember, we were playing for high stakes here. If I didn't make it, something happened. If I did make it, something happened. This was all very tense. And we had the I haven't seen the old tab speed yet. Trying to get things done. We were in open mode with very, very high stakes, and basically the entire Elite Dangerous player base had the opportunity to come in and cause havoc. Okay, basically had the opportunity to come in and cause havoc, which they attempted to do. So this thing went a bit viral. Then there were lots of other organisations getting involved. Discords were cropping up here, there, and everywhere. Different organisations appeared, both in lore and kind of around the meta of the game, basically trying to add their thing and trying to control various different aspects of various bits and pieces. And there was a whole bunch of meta stuff going on behind the scenes that I only just appreciated after the event, in terms of all the things that happened. And as a result of all of that, it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the organisation of it went far beyond anything I had planned. It became a huge thing, with many thousands of commanders vying to do this sort of thing. People setting up search zones, people setting up interdiction zones, basically saying, if you come into this part of the galaxy and you've got weapons, we will destroy you. And they were trying to enforce local militia laws, and all sorts of things like that were going on. And my original intention was just to have a relatively small lore event that just ran from one place to the other. In fact, the worst kind of mission for people to play. I've joked about it on my retro streams. The escort mission is the one that everybody hates, right? Not the escort mission, because it's the hardest one, because you've got a really high value target and you've got everything to lose and nothing to gain other than the target gets to the destination. So but that's what I set up. It was, I think, in some ways the least complicated set of missions I could do, because I didn't have the opportunity to put anything very significant actually in the game itself. The game doesn't allow that. Frontier doesn't have the tools to do that, doesn't have the bandwidth to do those sort of things, even now. So we had to work with what the game could actually do, and that was basically, we can go from here to here with an important message that I will reveal or not, depending on what happens. So anyway, so on the night we start in 46 Eridani, we're aware that and even the start location was tricky, because we thought, hang on, if we just instance into 46 Eridani, then loads and loads of other commanders will just jump into that point of the game and kill us before we even get going. So we had to have a think, how are we going to avoid that problem? So what we did is we got into the game a lot earlier than we'd advertised. We winged up and flew in real space, not in supercruise, but in real space. We supercruised quite a long way out of the system and then dropped into real space and then continued moving, so that we were miles and miles and miles, literally thousands and thousands of light seconds away from any natural instancing point in the system, to make sure that we wouldn't get attacked when we first just popped into the game. So lots and lots of things like that we considered to make sure we basically didn't get ganked. But we specifically invited people to attempt to gank us. Come and try it if you're hard enough, basically, was that. So we knew the best of the Elite Dangerous, the most competent commanders who knew what they were doing in open mode would be ranged against us. We knew that, and we basically tried to defy the odds with our preparations and our engineering and our strategies and various other bits and pieces. So that was the setup, just in the game. All right, that's what we attempted to do. Now, was that gung ho? Was that over ambitious? Was that a mistake? History decides, right? Okay, it happened. It was an event that we tried. It became a lot bigger than I planned. And it got to the point, I think, where it took on a will of its own, in the sense that it became its own thing. It became a far grander, far bigger event than I certainly had plotted. But it was an opportunity to blaze your own, really blaze your own trail, not just blaze your own trail by having your own personal narrative, but to actually make a difference to the game world, which is something we've always craved with Elite Dangerous. So that was the setup. That's what we attempted to do, and then we were basically doing this run. Isaiah says there, it was terrifying and exciting and dangerous and the most fun I've ever had in this game. So it was an event. It was incredibly stressful. So when we're doing this and you're looking at every target on the screen thinking, is one of those going to try and kill me? Because if I die, that's it. Basically the rule was for Salomé's flight that if she gets killed in game, i.e. you get to the rebuy screen, that's it, we lost. Okay, there's no escape pods, there's no rebuy, there's nothing. This is a, you actually die. Okay, so we were playing for those odds, playing for a lore character that was going to go into a book. So the story was going to be whatever actually happened in game. That's what I would set up by Frontier to write that second book, is basically bring the game alive and bring the players into it. It was my brief. So I said, well, okay, I'm going to bring the players into it, and we're going to have one final lore event in the game to finish the story one way or the other. Okay. And it is exactly, Iron Man mode does not exist in Elite Dangerous per se, but I basically said these are the stakes. I want there to be stakes, so I want it to be high pressure. I want us to have something to lose. I want there to be somebody else for something to gain. Okay, and this was the culmination of the Formula 9 Rift and everything else that had gone with it. So this was the sort of final set piece. Now we didn't have the option to reveal the location of Raxler or the Thargoid home base. None of that stuff was an option on the table so I had to, we could only work with what was available in terms of stakes. So I said, well, what stakes can that be? And the only stake I had that was really big was, let's put somebody's life at risk. Okay, so here's a character, Salomé, in the game who's done some stuff in the game. She's been in Galnet, she's done a few things, she's in a book, she's become need to hold back, let Drew get here. Sorry guys, am I behind? Let me jump up. So here's a character that has done things in the lore. Most people have heard of her one way or the other. She's the leader of a faction within Elite Dangerous, and her death will have some ramifications. Okay, in the game world. Okay, it's a much more relaxed pace than before. We're not charging through this as fast as we were that night, because I'm having to talk about it. So it's not quite the same. It's weird to be doing this again, though. I have to say, it is weird to be doing this. So that was the stake. Somebody is going to get killed. Okay, it's a fictional character, right? It's going to be a fictional character. Nobody's trying to kill us this time, at least. I don't think so. The jump range, of course, now with Guardian frameshift drive boosters and all that kind of good stuff is much higher. But every time we came out of hyperspace like this, there would be a bunch of ships around us in open. Okay, as a result of that, and we did get interdicted. I got interdicted a couple of times, and I had to fight off the interdiction a number of times from players. And believe it or not, once an NPC decided to attack us as well, which was really, really annoying, because the way the game works is that once an NPC is on your tail, for whatever reason, it tends to try and stay on your tail. So not only did we have actual players trying to kill us, the game decided to try and kill us as well by sending an NPC after me, which was very, very tenacious. Because the NPC had the advantage that it would just spawn in the system every single time we jumped, and chuck in the line about the tasty cargo. And I don't think we had any cargo on board. I don't remember, but it would do it anyway. It became just one of those really annoying things, just to add to the pressure of the run. So thousands and thousands of commanders were available. Now on the night, we also had a number of other people also doing the run for different reasons. So there were other lore characters doing this run. One of them was on Xbox as well. So we had 3 of us on PCs doing this run, and 1 on Xbox as well. And I've somewhere in my notes I've got the list of the commanders who flew those characters that night as well. So there were lots of people who were targets. It wasn't just Salomé, but Salomé was obviously the big one. We had organised with Frontier to get Salomé a several million credit bounty as well. NPC controlled by FDev, yes, I think it might have been. We were all these different commanders were flying around as well, and they were being attacked and guarded against as well. The idea being that if Salomé didn't make it through, then maybe one of them could. So that expanded the game a little bit that we were trying to play. But they were all basically making a run through this hostile territory, trying to get back to the core worlds. That was the gambit, if you like. And it was, I suppose, an attempt to bring the game world a bit more to life with a set piece, lore-based event that happened in the game. And I think since then only a few events have really achieved the same sort of level of notoriety as this one. So I think to be honest, actually before the Salomé event, I think the one that really caught my imagination, other than obviously Distant Worlds 1 and Distant Worlds 2, which were big events, but not quite in the same sort of style, was the battle for Lu, or Luff, or Lu. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. I'm going to go with Lu, actually. Lugh. So that is probably the first big lore event that actually had repercussions in the game that I recall. So if you haven't heard of the Battle of Lu, it's probably the first proper player-led lore event that actually occurred. And I looked at that and thought, that's very, very cool. I want to take some aspects of that and put some stakes in, along those sort of lines, for the players to get involved in. So those sort of things, those sort of things were there. And after the Salomé event, there's things like the obviously Distant Worlds 2 happened, and also obviously the what happened to the Gnosis as well. So that one didn't go to plan either, and I can't personally point any fingers at the organisation of the Gnosis, because of course the organisation of the Salomé event didn't go to plan either. and when you're dealing with an MMO type environment, you can't manage everything. It's impossible, particularly when the player base gets hold of it and turns it into their own thing. And so the Salomé affair, if you like, became so much more than it kind of was. And there isn't any, remember the Gnosis, exactly. There isn't any definitive telling of events of these events, because they were all different, seen from different perspectives. So from our perspective in this wing of 4 of us, we were racing across the stars trying not to be killed. From some people's perspective, because of the instancing, of course, they didn't see anything, and they were desperately trying to keep up and find out what's going on. There was lots of confusion. There's lots of fog of war. There was lots of what the hell is going on. I can see people flying around. They're all shooting each other. Which side I'm on? How do I tell which side I'm on? All these sort of things were happening as a result of the thing, and you can't control it all. So it became this multifaceted thing. An awful lot of people. Both before and after the event, basically said this was a crazy, stupid thing to do, and I think it probably was, right? Probably was a crazy, stupid thing to do, but and it's ancient history now in Elite Dangerous, and it's ancient history, even for the people who took part in it, really. But every so often, I notice it still crops up in conversation. Do you remember when? Where were you the night Salomé died? Those kind of. It's a bit like with. When JF Kennedy got shot, it's not nearly as big as that, obviously, but it's that kind of thing within the universe of Elite Dangerous. Were you there? Did you take part? And for new players, the players in the last few years, they'll occasionally go, well, what was all that about? And then the people who were there will go, well, we've got a story to tell you, youngster. It's that sort of vibe. And it was crazy, okay? It was a madcap idea, and I think had I known, what it was going to be like, A, to do it, B, to organise it, and C, what happened in the aftermath as a result of the outcomes, both in the game and actually outside of the game, shall we say, in the meta of the game, I definitely wouldn't have done it, okay? Because it's easy to be wise after the event, right? Because there was an awful lot of repercussions, right? An awful lot of repercussions, but it did happen, and it's like it or loathe the event, okay? And you're certainly entitled to have your opinion on whether it was good, bad, or any combination thereof. It was an event, right? It did happen, and it was exciting, and it was like anarchic, and what's going to happen next, right? All those sort of things. And there were stakes to be played. Okay, there were stakes to be played. There were strategies being played out. There were, in the meta of the game, there was all the discords were alive with various different discussions, but people were trying to infiltrate the discords of different groups by changing their names and setting up fake user accounts and trying to log in to find out what the other groups were doing. There was all sorts of espionage going on, trying to figure out what the opposing side was doing, and so they could break in and basically try to to gain an advantage. Okay, so we had, the children of Raxler and Lorenz Legion, who were the escorting group working with me. We had to have multiple levels of security clearance within the discords that were discussing how all this was going to go down, in order to make sure none of our secrets leaked out, because we were beginning to get paranoid that we had moles inside our discords and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so it got very, very conspiratorial. And quite weird and quite tense, and you didn't know who to trust. Inside the game or outside the game, and it really did take on a life of its own. So it was it became quite a weird thing, and all came down to 2 hours of gameplay on that fateful evening of the 29th of April, 3303. So that's when it all went down. Or was it 3302? I'm just trying to remember. It's 2017. Was that 3302 or 3303? I can't remember. And as you can see, that this is on the scanner. This is just really giving me flashbacks, because this is exactly what the scanners look like. On that evening, we just had lots and lots of commands about. And unfortunately, I'm happy tonight most of them are friendly, but back then, it was definitely 3303. There we go. My memory is not necessarily what it was. So, but we're making good progress. So that's how it went down. Okay, so these sort of events haven't been attempted in the same way ever since. I don't think anyone's tried anything like this, very much, in the same way, certainly not to an extent. And the opportunity to take part in the law in that sort of way hasn't been extended again now, unfortunately, as well. Now, I don't know whether that was because Frontier didn't have the appetite for doing those sort of things. We gained for the Battle of Loo, the Salomé affair, the Knossos, were the times when Elite Dangerous got into the gaming press in a big way. Other than the release of Odyssey, should I say, in a good, positive way. I.e., something was happening that was really cool. We created a vast amount of publicity for Frontier as a result of these events, and they were player driven. Now, Frontier did give me quite a lot of assistance on this in various different ways, and like I've already mentioned, they did put in the menu options for that particular night, which was quite cool. They also fixed a major bug that we were quite worried about. So the week before, it transpired that there was a way of getting infinite packhound missiles through due to a bug in Elite Dangerous, and so they worked hard and they patched that for us a couple of days before we were running the event, because as a result of that, we would have died. Because you can fire infinite packhounds, a poorly defended ship, you're in serious trouble. So that was fortunately fixed, and so that's what that was going on. So that was the setup. We were attempting to make a really big event, try and get as much of the Elite Dangerous community into open mode to basically try and either foil or work on behalf of Salomé as she did this run across the stars. And we were told. In fact, I was told by lots and lots of people, she will die in the first 5 minutes. There's absolutely total certainty she will be dead in the first 5 minutes. What a stupid idea. She just has not got a chance of surviving it open mode. Nobody's ever done it. Nobody's ever survived. There'll be streamers out there who'll be broadcasting her location all the time. And the other thing that I had done, which was controversial, not everybody agreed with me. In fact, I'm sure there were guys on my wing at the moment who basically were very concerned about this, is I basically said Salomé will accept any and all friend requests. Okay, she will accept any and all friend requests, because what I was concerned with is obviously the instancing is the biggest problem with Elite Dangerous in terms of community events. Always has been, always will be. Okay. And the problem was, if we managed to break through our attackers' defences, the only way they could follow us without the friend system is either by pure luck or trying to keep up using wake scanning. Now, wake scanning isn't fast enough, okay, to keep up with a ship that is rapidly jumping. So in the game mechanics, as they are without the friend system, there is no way for an attacking ship to basically keep up. It can't be done, or at least it couldn't be done back then. Okay, so I said Salomé will accept all friend requests, and they will not be vetted. Okay, they will not be vetted, because I want everybody to have a fighting chance of catching her. And again, my fellow conspirators were like, "You are insane." Are you trying to get us killed? Because that gives them a massive advantage. You can see people on the galaxy map if you do that. There's a way to no true nose, as I was like, don't do this. Okay. And I said, well, but if we want this to be a fight, if we want this to be a struggle, we need to give the bad guys the chance to be able to see where we are, because otherwise it'll just be really boring. Okay, it'll be really boring. Unless we jump into a place that's infested with bad guys by luck, they will see us appear, they'll see us jump, and that'll be it. Okay, so so we've got. I was thinking about this. It needs to be as fair and even as I can make it, and I was balancing up the probability of how likely is it we're going to get killed instantly, versus how likely is it that nothing interesting happens at all because we've kept it. We've kept everybody off the friends list. And I thought, if we keep everyone off the friends list, nothing's going to happen. There's going to be no threat, because they can't see us. We'll just be like ghosts travelling through space, and we'll make it, and it'll be like it was a setup. What was the point of taking part? So I eventually persuaded my fellow conspirators that this was some sort of sanity. or some sort of insanity, made the case basically like, yeah, it's got to be a challenge. We've got to have some risk. We've got to have some terrifying odds against us here, because otherwise it's not actually going to be meaningful. So that was the thinking there. I did have Ed Lewis. Who remembers Ed Lewis from Frontier? He emailed me and said, "You are insane." You will be killed in 5 minutes of going live. We've tried it. We Frontier have tried it. We've tried events like this, Drew. It will not work. Okay, it will not work. You will be killed. And I said, well, look, but we've done this. We looked at what went wrong for you. We've done this. We've done this. We've done this. We've come up with these strategies to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And he took a look at them. And to be fair to Ed, he came back to me and said, well, I can see you've put a lot of thought into it. I still don't think you'll make it, but I can see that you think you can give it a try, okay? And so he said, yeah, if you think you can get away with it, go for it. So I said, yeah, we're reasonably confident, okay? We're reasonably confident we've got a fighting chance. And he said, okay, go for it. So, and they coordinated various other bits and pieces, mate. So, so Ed Lewis was a huge help in the Salomé thing. Very, very grateful to him for the support he gave us at the time. And also the devs, actually. There were a bunch of devs. Alas, I think they've all left Elite Dangerous now. Certainly none of the ones that I was working with back for the premonition stuff. They're all gone. They're no longer with Elite Dangerous. But they did a lot of bits and pieces for us in that regard, which was very, very helpful. So yes, so there we go. Okay, so we start off, and it's like, okay, I was really conscious with the guys on the wing, saying that I didn't want them all to be killed in the first 5 minutes, because a lot of work had been done for this. Okay, so regardless of all the stuff that was going on around the scenes of the game from all the other people that had got involved, the core team, the Ren's Legion, the Children of Raxler, my immediate wing of co-conspirators, we had spent time practicing, doing engineering, doing rehearsals, doing target practice, interdictions, evading, all that sort of stuff, to make sure that we were really, really au fait with the way things worked and the controls and stuff. Let's wait for Drew. He's talking again. I shall keep moving, my friends. So all that sort of stuff. What is that? For some reason, my targeting. Yeah, don't do that. Some reason, Zenith, my targeting isn't working. I can't select you anymore, which is a bit weird. Why isn't that jumping? Oh, they jumped ahead. That's why, and I didn't pick it up. Right, hang on, guys. Wait for me there, and I'll have to do it manually. Sorry, I didn't notice you jumped all that far ahead. And now I've lost you because you're not there. Where's my wing gone? Lost me a wing. There we go. I'll do it manually. Sorry, that was my fault. I'll catch up my wing. That was very important that we didn't do that on the night, right? So that sort of stuff was important. So there we were, and we had this setup, and we felt that we had a fighting chance of doing it, but we knew we were up against the odds. Basically, the best of the Elite Dangerous player base. We basically posted a great big "Come Kill Us" sign on the internet, and that was the setup. Okay, basically, try your best, come kill us. We will be here. We will be flying through here. And as a result, lots of people did try. And there were some very concerted efforts trying to kill us. Some very concerted efforts trying to kill us, which is what we wanted. We wanted it to be hard. It was us pitting our wits and strategy against the best that everybody else had out there. And that was what we were attempting to do. That's basically that's how it went. That's how it went down. Now before we left, Salomé was very fond in the law of giving speeches, so she gave a speech basically saying, thank you very much for coming, I'm not asking you to do this. If you want to run away and hide, then please do. I don't want you to put your life on the line for this. We got underway and started to run. And yeah, we basically we got away from the initial piece. Okay, we made the jumps, and then every system we jumped into was swarming with commanders. I've never seen it so busy in various instances. So we knew everybody was out there trying to kill us. Some people tried to interdict us. Some people were trying to attack us, and various other bits and pieces. So there was lots of stuff happening in the first thing. But after 15 minutes or so, we started getting into a bit of a rhythm. And we were jumping successfully. We were evading interdictions. We were refueling. We were jumping. We were evading interdictions. We started getting into this rhythm. We thought, there's a chance we can make this. This is actually starting to work. People are trying to catch us, but our strategy is working. Now, the only problem we had, or at least I had back then, was that one of the evasive strategies I had was, if you think you're about to get interdicted and the wing isn't close enough to support you, one of the tactics for me to use was to basically do a frame shift drop at a high speed. Okay, so if you think somebody's about to interdict you, and the chances are that they've got an engineered ship, and so they'll be better at the interdiction mini game than you are, which is very likely in my case, then do an emergency drop into real space, thrust away from the instancing point, so that when the enemy ship manages to drop at your wake point, hopefully you're far enough away and able to jump back into hyperspace for the next jump that they can't catch you. So that was a tactic that we had in an emergency if we thought we were going to be interdicted out of range of anybody else helping us. Okay, so now that tactic did actually work quite well, but it did have a downside, and the downside, of course, is it damages your ship. Now, we had thought of that, and we had fully stocked AFMU on board, a primary one for fixing all the main systems, and then another AMFU on board to fix the AMFU that was fixing the primary systems, if that makes sense. Okay, so we thought of this problem. We thought we can fix it, we can repair it if we get too much damage en route. Okay, so that was a strategy that we thought of, and we built the ship to cater for that one. So by about the halfway mark, I'd had to employ that mechanism a few times. And this was the other thing to bear in mind. This was all happening with Discord. Yeah, we were voice comming over Discord to kind of keep everything coordinated and try and keep everything together. So that sort of stuff was happening as well. We were trying to keep this together. But basically what we did is we found a safe location. We basically did an emergency drop out of the star. When we managed to find an instance where nobody else was in, we dropped back into real space. And basically hid in real space for a bit whilst I repaired my ship. Okay, so fired up the AFMU, repaired all the systems, and then basically we went going again. Okay, and then another half an hour of being kind of attacked and shot at and tortured and interdicted and stuff. We had to do the same thing again, and I was taking a fair bit of damage because of the tactic. Okay, now that was something we'd rehearsed, and to be fair, I probably overused it because I was getting a bit paranoid about being interdicted, because I knew if I got interdicted I was in serious trouble, because any interdicting ship we assumed would be highly beweaponed and engineered and would probably take us out in 30 seconds of being in the instance. And we were concerned that the game would conspire against us. Okay, so there was a problem that we would get Braben tunnels, blue tunnels, yellow sidewinders, whatever it happened to be. Okay, and as a result of that, the tactic was drop out. Okay, damage the ship if you need to, but drop out so you don't get interdicted as much as possible. Okay, so all of those things, we had considered all of these options to try and make sure that we were successful. And so I kept picking up damage to my ship, and what we discovered after an hour or so, the AMFU ran out. We'd underspec'd the AMFU for the repairs that we needed to make using this tactic. So as we started getting close to the destination, and I don't know how far we are out now, but we're still moving. I was beginning to accumulate damage to the ship that I couldn't repair, and so we noticed it as we started getting within relatively close to the destination. We started getting failed jumps. the frameshift drive damage was beginning to get incrementally worse, and every so often it wouldn't charge. It would do that fail to charge business, and you'd have to wait a moment before it would then engage. So it was a little bit hit and miss whether the hyperspace would work. And it was just a symptom of things. So we had to take the decision at that point: don't damage the ship anymore, because it's suffering. And by this time, we were getting close to an hour and a half of doing this. And I think if you've not been in an open world game, where someone is hunting you, even though you're accompanied by your friends. This was before you couldn't restock the AMFU with anything on board at the time. We didn't have that. I don't think we had that option. I don't recall it anyway. Isaiah's got a bounty hunter on me. So the NPCs have a go at you as well. It's really annoying. So all of these sort of things. So the frameshift drive and various other bits. Isaiah, are you getting interdicted, Isaiah? And this is what happened on the night. We got interdicted by someone. We got the NPCs turned on us as well, which is like, we don't need that level of hassle. So that was a bit of emergent gameplay that happened. Holding back. Okay, let's just make sure Isaiah's safe as well. Don't carry any cargo. Those sort of problems were happening. But we were picking up, well, at least I was picking up damage. Okay, I was picking up damage from the tactics we'd employed to do some of the evasion. We're good. Let's roll. Right, onwards we go. Oops. Am I going to the right place? Let me just cancel that. Sure I'm going to the right place. I don't have a... Is that right place? Here we are going to the right place. Cool. Okay. Easy to shake. Yeah, so we managed to avoid some interdictions, but we did get attacked. Oops. Am I going to the right place? Yes, I am. That's good. Just make sure we don't head off in totally different directions. And then, the whole fog of war thing can be very dense. So after about an hour and 15 minutes, a number of things were happening to us. We were getting tired. Okay, certainly I was. The emotional stress, okay, of flying in this fashion. So I've played Elite a lot, okay, but the emotional stress, the actual physical stress of flying around, trying to do something relatively complicated, coordinate with your wingman, all that sort of stuff, whilst knowing that you're playing for keeps, i.e. if you die, you die. And knowing that the entire online community is out there trying to either help you or kill you, the emotional strain was enormous. Okay, the emotional strain was enormous, and it began to tell. Okay, I started making mistakes. I won't speak for my wingmen. I'm sure they were perfect, but the stress was showing. Okay, it was intense. It was heart rates were up. Brows were beading with sweat. Let's put it like that. We knew we were doing okay. We'd been alive for over an hour in open mode, and we were, people were trying to kill us, but we'd evaded them. We were running. We were successfully keeping them at bay, but we'd been worn down. We'd been worn down. By the time we got to a number, we were deep fried. We were stressed. It's basically, mentally your concentration was beginning to go because you were working so hard, and none of us, this hadn't been done before, this sort of pressure. It was intense, and you start to get tired. Armpits were damp with sweat. It's a very attractive proposition there. But that's the pressure. It was live. It was happening now. Whatever you did had repercussions. And it wasn't like you could go back to your previous save. Tense. You were clenching the controls. You were sweating. You were kind of really trying to concentrate. And I could hear around me the tone of voices changing. We were struggling to get things to work, and then people had problems. Sometimes the wing broke up. I don't think we actually had too many stability problems with the game during most of the run, but we were we were doing this for a long period of time, and we've been doing this for almost an hour now, and you can imagine, it's the amount of concentration. I mean, I'm having to talk to you on the stream now and fly the ship, which is a fair bit of concentration, but it's nothing like it was on the night. Okay, knowing that people were out there absolutely trying to kill you, and that an awful lot of people had spent an awful lot of time trying to, rehearse things, make things a success, etc., etc., etc. So it got very, very, very tense and very, very tiring as a result. And I certainly started making mistakes, because you just do when you're under pressure for that length of time. And so it was intense, and we did know that there were known villains out there. Shall I call them villains? I think that's probably the way. Now we have actually over a year ago now, possibly even two. We did I did do a stream, the story of Salomé, which you can find on YouTube if you want to read it. And we did actually have Mr. Harry Potter on that stream in the chat, and obviously back on the event it was somewhat acrimonious, I think it's probably fair to say, but it's part of history now, and we actually were able to have a reflection of that event from all sides a few years ago, and now it's again, like I say, it's part of Elite Dangerous history. What happened. Now we all know what the outcome of this was. Salomé was eventually caught. When we'll get to the enamel claw system, I'll take you through exactly how it transpired from my perspective, and then the guys in the wing can also describe what they saw at that point in time, because it's an interesting thing that occurred. Let's hold for the other folks to catch up. Okay, right. I'm going to just give me a cue there, Zenith, when we're ready to rock and roll. 184 light years away. So and we knew we were getting closer and closer and closer to the core worlds. Okay, and as a result, we were thinking. We've actually, for the first hour, we were just concentrating. Once we got to sort of the hour and a quarter, we thought, and we were closing in on our destination, the thought began to appear in our head: we might actually make this. Against all the odds, we might actually make it. This might actually work. Maybe we're going to be the first people ever to take on the open mode of the game with a big sign on our back saying "Come kill us if you can," and actually survive in the attempt. The thought was there at this point. We had survived. We was damaged, we were tired, we were bloody and bruised, but we were still alive. Have I missed the next system? We're going to pause. Oh, we're going to pause at the next system. Right. Okay, let's just jump there. Sorry. Apologies. I wasn't reading. See, I'm making mistakes. We've got this, says Azai. Exactly. We think the confidence began to grow, and maybe that didn't help. Famous last words. It was famous last words. Okay, it was famous last words. But and I didn't at the time have a chance to, because we were doing it live. It was happening then. We didn't have a chance to see what the streamers were talking about or what anybody else was doing. So nothing like that. We didn't have any time for that sort of stuff to have a look at. We were just playing the game. We were writing the lore as it happened, and that's basically how it went down. So we're going to pause here just for a little bit to allow folks to catch up. I'm just going to have a look at the galaxy map to sort of see how far we've come. So I'm just going to cut my speed down there a little bit. Let's just have a quick look. So at this point, where are we? I think Welsh Gamer or something said we were about 184 light years out. So we're in the Col 285 sector. So that's where we come from, back out there. There's 46 Iridani. So here we are here, probably about 2/3 of the way. Now we're heading over into here. Is our destination, and the Enumclaw system is where the story kind of stops. So that's kind of where with this particular run ended. But we were approaching the bubble. We were very, very close. The chase was on. There were thousands and thousands of commanders on our tail trying to figure out where we're going. And obviously what they'd figured out, if you look at this, they'd figured out we were running in a straight line. Okay, which was maybe a slight tactical error for us, but we basically we made the call. We're going to run as fast as we can, and that meant a relatively straight line. There was some evasive stuff on the way, but not a vast amount. And so it was very clear Salomé was heading for the bubble, which was, we knew that because we were privy to the story, but the attackers didn't know this. And they obviously the track is get into the bubble. And the predicted track, okay, so they knew roughly where we were heading. And so what some of them did, of course, quite smartly, is they positioned themselves ahead of our track. They simply jumped fast and hard ahead of us. Or in some cases, they stationed themselves in logical areas and coordinated themselves on Discord to basically say, she's going this way, get yourself into these systems and try and head her off. Okay? So all this sort of stuff was what was going on at the time, and we didn't know all this until afterwards. But that's all the fun. So there we go. It's the right call to go straight in. The more time we spent out here, the more time people have had to catch us, and the more damage we would have done to our ships. And that was the issue. You're balancing up these probabilities of what's going to happen, what the bad guy is going to do, what are we going to do to counter that, and which is the most risky. And you have to make a call, and that's what we did. Right, let's keep jumping because we've still got places to go. Hades sector nav look up, so that's where we're heading. There we go. So it would, and of course the core worlds would be more dangerous because that's where an awful lot more ships were stationed, because the big powerful ships with lots and lots of big weapons that are engineered, generally, if you're set up for PvP, you're not really usually set up for much in the way of jump range. So what you're hoping is that you can get in there, and there are enough. You ambush the incoming ship with your heavily armed machine. Okay, and we knew that was likely. So as we approached the bubble, the stress continued to go up again because we knew we were approaching the most dangerous part. We figured there'd be lots of people trying to ambush us at the start. We figured there'd probably be a bit of a lull in the middle because only fast ships would be able to keep up with us because of the jump speed that we were aiming for. As a result of that, we were thinking, okay, this is it. This is the final showdown coming up. Are we going to make it through the core worlds? Because we were aiming for the Tianizla system, which of course is, I've mentioned many times, is steeped in lore. And that's where Salomé had to get to, but nobody else knew that other than us. That was the most heavily guarded secret of them all. That was sort of eyes only for the wing, is what is the actual destination. So nobody knew where we were going, but we knew, but it was getting fairly obvious. And the closer you get to the destination, it becomes more obvious where you're going. Okay. And now the instancing starts to break. So that was the other thing. Okay, we'll talk a bit about the instancing when we get to an Umglor, but sometimes the instancing doesn't work properly either, which is a problem. I'm just waiting for Zenith to appear here. I haven't got him yet. So those sort of things. Aussie G says, I wish I brought an FSD interdictor just for old time's sake. All good stuff. So all that was happening, and we knew as we came into the core worlds that there would be people waiting for us with probably heavily armed ships. Okay, and we had to get through. So we knew we were going to be running a blockade. We knew that was very, very likely. As a result of that, we had to. Our strategy was just to run on through as fast as we could. We just had to face them down. We've lost sync. Okay, so hang on. That means I'm going to have to jump manually. So where am I going? It's Hades sector M. Can I see that visually? There it is. Okay. See, right, okay, well, I'll do that jump manually. And this is a problem we did have on the night, is sometimes the wing mechanism failed as well. Okay, so we'd have to, and so that was adding to the stress. Every so often we would get out of sync with the wings. And we did have a protocol. The guys in the wing can probably describe it better than me, actually. But we did have a protocol. So there was a eyes on VIP set of code words and protocols that we were operating to make sure everybody knew what to do. And if in the event that a wing fell apart, that this is what you do in that situation to get back. It's emergency, trying to get into the galaxy map and type everything in. It was, again, very stressful trying to make this work. But it had been rehearsed. Okay, we had been rehearsed. We were trying to make sure that we had all those contingencies covered. So it is the Horizons client. Yes, we're doing this in Horizons. To do. So basically, what to do when instancing breaks, which we knew was a risk as well. The game would occasionally conspire against you, and you have to cater for that problem as well. That's just part of the thing. But the key rules were always no cheating. Okay, no cheating. We've that's right. There we are. Step 2, find Drew. Step 3, kill anyone that isn't in the wing. Step 3, cry because it didn't work. So that was basically the rule. So but no cheating. It was very important to us that there's no cheating. There was no combat logging. If we were in trouble, we had to deal with it with in-game mechanisms. That was the rule that we were playing with. Which seemed reasonably fair, and we felt, and I'd argued a lot, as I've already mentioned, to sort of try and make the playing field as level as possible, so that the attackers had a chance, we had a chance, and it was then down to who's the most skillful player, or players, or groups of players, in this. And the fact that we got so far, okay. We'll work out exactly how far we had to. I didn't even look it up at the time. I was so exhausted by the time we got to the end of it I didn't have enough time to assimilate everything, because we were so stressed and so shocked and so at the time, of course, so demoralised because we had lost. It wasn't the happy ending that we were hoping for. It was a tragedy, from that perspective. It was good drama, okay. And in some ways, looking back on it now, I'm glad it did transpire that way. In some ways, not necessarily. The villain of the piece could have been a slightly different choice, I feel. But the fact that Salomé died, from a dramatic drama perspective, was a good. From a writer/author perspective, was a good twist. Okay, it wasn't the anticipated outcome that we get, by this point, because we felt at this point reasonably optimistic. Okay, pride cometh before a fall and all that, but we were pretty optimistic. Okay, we thought, we can do this, and we were making the jumps. We were making our jumps, and so there we were. Now there's an awful lot of meta around the assassination of Salomé, but having spoken to Commander Harry Potter at some length as a result of all these things, and having to do the research for the book, he and his group, the SDC as they were at the time, did play hardball with both the meta and the game. Okay, they did play hardball. They engineered their ships superbly in the game. They had a strategy in the game for how they were going to find us. They had a strategy in the game for what they were going to do when they did find us, and they played a meta game whereby they were trying to infiltrate discords and various other bits and pieces that were going on in order to remove as many obstacles out of their way to get close to us as possible. Now, there were quite a lot of myths around what they did. Harry Potter was never in Salomé's wing at any stage, and he was never in the trusted inner circle of the wings that I have here. Within the Children of Raxla or the Lorenz Legions. That is a myth that has persisted for a long time. He never infiltrated the inside kind of corridors of power, as it were, from that perspective. But he did, employ a very good strategy to get as close as possible. He had a superbly engineered ship, and he knew what he was doing. So from a kind of that kind of perspective. Now, some of the other actions he took in the game, both before and afterwards, are infamous, and he's responsible for those, not not us. Eisen's, we've dropped out of instancing again, unfortunately. I've got the lock on the next system, HIP 2789. So I'm going to. You guys may have to make that manually, I'm afraid. Let's go to 27849 and see if we can get there. So some of those stories that Harry Potter broke into the wing and killed Salomé from the inside. That's not true. Okay, that is very much not true. The wing that you see on the screen today is the wing that we had on the night, and they're all trusted inner people, and they all did their best to defend Salomé all the way. There wasn't a secret base and reanimated Salomé into a clone. Well, the way that story goes, you have to read Premonition Diviner, what happens in terms of all the different clones and what happened to Rebecca. So that's written down in the story. But the assassination was, to be honest, it was played for and got, and it was assisted by some, from our perspective, some bad luck. And a number of things came together at the same time. So if you want to watch the videos, you can. As I just mentioned, there are a bunch of videos of the event. So you can see it from the perspective of the wing that's on the screen now. So Isaiah, Eisen and Zenith were with Salomé right until the last moment, and you can watch what happened from their perspective. Harry Potter himself has a video of the attack as well. You can watch that as well to see it from that perspective, and those videos dispel some of the myths that have kind of arisen about this event, that it was all a setup and the outcome was predetermined and It wasn't. We were fighting really, really hard to stay alive. That's as simple as that. That's what we were attempting to do, and we done pretty well, to be honest. We got this far, and Anarchy 100 saying we're 65 light years away. 65 light years away, okay. Nim Duskrin, damn that Glybican shift. They're not bad ships for this, actually. What on earth are those things flying into the sun? Oh, the probes. Yep. Right, I've got the next jump. Are we ready? Let's go. And there are a lot of myths, and to be honest, the truth of the event at this stage, I mean, I can tell you my version of events, but that's only what I saw. Lots of other people have seen lots of different things from their perspective, so there's lots of truths about the event and lots of falsehoods, but there we go. So that is the thing, but the bad guys, whatever their reputation, they worked for the kill. There was no easy route for them. They didn't They didn't have it easy getting to us to kill us. They had to work hard to achieve what they achieved, and we knew they were out there. And I actually said to the wing right at the beginning, rather obviously cursed it, to be honest. I said, "Well, as long as we don't get killed by Harry Potter, we'll be fine." Little did I know, which in hindsight was probably the most stupidest thing I've ever said in my life. But but of course, you don't know, and that's where we got to. So we knew there were lots of bad guys out there, and we'd seen them. Some people had got into our instance and attacked us and had tried to interdict us, and some of them had dragged us out of things. We did get interdicted by a corvette at one point, but fortunately, it wasn't fast enough to pursue us in normal space. Because the clippers are quite quick, we were able to get out of range and keep out of its its arc of gunfire. So it managed to interdict me and drop me into real space, but it couldn't kill me because I was able to outrun it, because we'd engineered our ships to be able to run fast. we did evade. Now Harry Potter was flying a clipper. Okay, Harry Potter was flying a clipper. And there was an asp, that's right, that made me unfortunately make a mistake of dropping under and discovery I wasn't alone. So most of the time, what happened was if I got interdicted, my wing would appear in my instance with me and, attack anybody. Eisen's still out of instance, unfortunately. That's annoying. So, and this is the problem. The instancing doesn't always work. It's really annoying, particularly when you're trying to stay alive. Zenith, am I jumping or am I waiting? I'm just going to wait for the chat to catch up. Use the Force, Harry Gandalf. So yeah, Harry Potter was notorious even back then, and we knew about that, and it wasn't. Instinct naturally gets wonky in the bubble. So here we go. That was the other thing that was causing concern, and I think. I've never heard from Frontier specifically on this. I think we put a bit of a load on the servers because there were so many players in the same part of the galaxy at the same time trying to do hyperspacey stuff and instancing. I think we caused a bit of a strain on the servers, and that didn't help. Okay, so as we got closer and closer to the bubble, more and more players were converging on the same part of the game, which was a problem. And we broke the server initially before we started. So Frontier had definitely switched on a few extra resources for it, but it's one of those things. The infrastructure isn't as it ideally would be. So I'm just waiting for Zenith to tell me what to do here. I've got the target lock on the right system. Okay, so he's jumping, so I'm gonna jump as well. Balam Paso. So there we go. We're in the Horizons client. So if you want to join the final jump, it's Horizons. We will be jumping from the Enumclaw system, which we won't. I don't think we're too far away from now. And to be honest, I haven't been back to the system ever since that fateful night all those years ago. It's a system I've sort of avoided really. For fairly obvious reasons, but as we got close to the bubble, more and more people were starting to appear on the scanner. So it was we're about to make the last jump. So so we're almost here. So this is how far we got. Okay, so we're now at about an hour and 15 minutes. We've done this a little bit faster than we did on the night because of course we had to stop for repairs quite often. So here we are about to make the jump into the Enumclaw system. Okay, had to drop into normal space. We'll catch up. Right, we'll try and let's try and keep the wing together for the jump into the Enumclaw system. Okay, because this is basically where the run came apart. Not sure if this was the system we ended up in before the jump, but Enumclaw was the detour. Zenith had to make a call to reroute around a star. We had emergency drop. That's right. We'd come the wrong way. So we'd done an emergency stop for reasons which I can't remember. So this is it. This is the final jump that Salomé ever made into the Enumclaw system. There we are. Now, we needed a fast jump out, and Enumclaw was the first system I could lock onto. So this is fate happening now. It's like that'll do. We're going there. Everybody jump. And this is where we tried to jump to. So I'm just waiting for the go-ahead. Eisen is here. Right, are we ready to jump then, guys? Let's see if the wing will stay together for this jump this time to this system. Everyone's locked on. Navlock when you're ready. Okay, here we go. We're jumping into the Enumclaw system once more. Ah dear. This was the fateful place. This was the fateful place where it all went wrong. Okay, so I jumped into this system. The jump worked successfully. Okay, for me. So we did the hyperspace jump. And we arrived in the system. I arrived in the system. Let's see what happens this time. Right, so okay, so here we go. I arrived in the system, and there's lots of ships around me now. From my perspective, what happened was they're everywhere. You know, there were people. Okay, so lots of people were here. What happened from my perspective? We jumped in, and the wing didn't appear with me. Okay, the wing didn't appear with me. I basically said, guys, I can't see you. Where are you? You know, as a result of that, I was. He says, "Yeah, that's the kind of reaction." Okay, is this my last jump as well? I'm hoping I don't get killed at this point. That'll be really annoying. I think we're going to head for a fleet carrier. I think there's one here. Let me just do that. So, is there one in the system? Has it arrived yet? That's the question. Yeah, there's lots of fleet carriers here. So let's farewell, Drew. Well, let's go to the farewell, Drew. There we go. Everyone head for the farewell, Drew. I think that's probably the right place to go, isn't it? Farewell, Drew 07. Let's go for the farewell, Drew 07 fleet carrier. Literally no different than it was on that day, says Isaiah. So the wing is problematic. So basically, I jumped in. Okay, I jumped into the system. My wing wasn't there. Okay, I was on my own. Farewell, Drew 07. I'm sitting. It's a trap. Let's hope it's not a trap. And I was on my own. Okay, so I basically was on the Discord saying, "Where are you guys? Where are you?" And basically what happened was that some of them were on their way in, but the instancing wasn't working correctly. Some of them got blue tunnels. Okay, some of them didn't get into the right place at all, and various other things went wrong. So I was there on my own for probably a minute or so, and this is when Harry Potter struck. Okay, Harry Potter jumped into the system at the same time and got into the same instance as me. I saw him on the scanner, and basically, as I was in my instance, there we go. So I was attempting to flee. At this point, I was trying to get, because I knew the wing wasn't there, I didn't have the navlock. So I basically said, well, I'm going to try and jump out and keep going, guys. See if you can catch me up. That was the protocol. That's what we attempted to do. So I attempted to do that. Of course, what happened was I charged up the hyperspace drive to do the jump, and because of the damage to my ship, the hyper jump failed. Hyperspace, the high wake failed. Okay, it basically conked out, and as a result of that, Harry Potter was able to interdict me. He got close enough to interdict me, and he caught me in the interdiction. Now we did fight the minigame for a bit, but he was either, and probably a combination of both of these, either a lot better at the game than I was, which is quite likely, and B, I think he had engineering modifications to the interdictor to make it that much more effective. Because of that, I got interdicted and I was dropped into real space. And I think Isaiah was with me. I'm just trying to remember now. So Zenith, Eisen, and Isaiah, do feel free to put some comments on the wing chat to, from your experience of what happened, because I remember getting interdicted very clearly, thinking I am in serious trouble now, because I know who Harry Potter is, B, I am on my own, and I'm sort of shouting into the Discord, guys, I am in trouble here. I'm being interdicted by you know who. You shall not be named, and you guys aren't here. Where are you? Where the hell are you? Well, this is going south really fast at this point in time. And I said, I can't hyperspace. The drive will not engage. So Isaiah, so basically, yes, right. I dropped out. Isaiah should have dropped out with me, but of course, what happened? He got blue tunneled. Okay, the drop for him didn't work. He was stuck in the blue tunnel, while I was basically saying, guys, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And I was on my own with Harry Potter in the instance. Now, the moment Harry Potter got into range, of course, he started opening fire. And Eisen, there we go. So my client shut down. By the time I got back into the game, Salomé was dead. So Eisen's PC crashed on him. Isaiah blew tunnel, so I lost 2 of my wing. Zenith was a few hundred outward, heading for the next target lock system. So there we go. What we just said there. I turned around as soon as I heard I'm interdicted over the voice comms. Okay, so the wing, so only Zenith was left, and he was too far away to help me. Okay, I got interdicted by Harry. He was in the same instance. He won the interdiction minigame. He brought me out. I tried to turn around. I actually rammed him, I think. Not actually on purpose, but I actually rammed him. I did cause some damage to his ship, but I caused even more damage to I tried again to hyperspace out, and the hyperspace jump failed again due to the damage the ship had taken. And then by the time I tried the third time, my shields were gone. The hull came apart around me, and boom, you have been killed by Harry Potter. Okay, so that's how it went down. All right, that's how it went down. Everything came apart in like 2 minutes. Jumped into the system, blue tunnel, PC crash, Zenith in the completely wrong way, perfect storm of all the wrong things. So in some ways, actually, Elite Dangerous itself killed Salomé. we almost made it. We almost made it, but that's basically what happened at the end. It was a colour of appalling shock, because our confidence had got really high by this point, and alas, it wasn't to be. So just to show you, this is not the system map. What am I doing? Galaxy map. We had come from all the way over here. There we are, 46 Iridani. Okay. We had got to here in the Unclaw system, and we were going to Tia Nizla. Okay, we're still a little way to go, 165 light years, probably about another 5 or 6 jumps. That is how close. There you go. Just done that again. Let's just do that without modifying that. Just from a kind of overhead perspective, there you go. There's 46 Iridani down there. We got to there, so 4/5, maybe 5/6 of the way, and that's how far we had to go. That's how close we got after an hour and a half of being chased in open mode by everybody who had a gun, basically. So we did fail. Right, we are at 22. We are at 22 the hour. So we're going to need to start playing instancing roulette to try and get as many people into this instance as possible. Now I am here near the Fairworld Rue. So for my wing, I'm just suggesting if you can maybe jump out and jump back in again, and see if that works. There we go. We'll choose a star system to jump to. I can see. How can I see? There we go. We'll start getting people into the instance, so we can do as much of a hyperspace jump as well. So once my wing is here, we'll drop the wing and start looking at it. So I can see Zenith is here. Eisen and Isaiah hopefully are on their way in. So once they're in the instance, then we can do that. So yeah. So from a lore perspective, Salomé was killed. Okay. If you want to read what happened next, you can either do it in the book, obviously, but you can also read what happens next in the Tiorge system. I'll type that into the chat, so you can go and have a look at there's some logs in the Tiorge system, which are in game, and also Salomé knew that she was, from a lore perspective, I wrote it like this. Salomé knew that there was a high likelihood she would be killed, so she left a message for anybody who would come after her. And if you want to go to the HIP 17519 system, you will find a series of logs in a medical installation in that facility that Salomé left, which is her final message. So if you want to follow the story from this point, you can go there and follow it even further. So that's basically what that looks like. I've set wing signals, so if you drop in on me, we've just lost Eisen out of the wing. I think my wing signal is on as well. So Zenith is here. Isaiah hopefully will be here in a moment. Eisen disappeared. I hope his PC didn't crash again. No. Anyone in Drew's instance can invite my wing commander. So Isaiah says it's just like a reenactment, people disappearing out of the wings. This is always a problem. So let's, if you've got wings of 3, once you get this little bit organised, if you are in my instance, this is the way it works, my friends. If you are in my instance, you don't need to be in a wing any longer. So if you're in my instance, drop your wing, and tell everybody in the chat who has got a wing of 3, and get them to invite you in to their wing. Then they can super cruise in and join us in this instance. That's basically how this works. If you can keep attempting to do that for the next few minutes, that would be really, really good. So who is in my instance? I can see at least 4 or 5 ships here. If any of those people in my instance can see me, and you know you're in my instance, let people in the chat know, and they will invite you into the wing. So once I can get hopefully Isaiah, and I don't know what's happened to Eisen. He's disappeared entirely, which is alarming. So we'll see how many people we can get into the instance in the next few minutes. That'd be really, really good. Okay, so Commander Defin, if you can, in that case, if you can, somebody who has got a wing of 3 can invite Commander Defin in. That should allow you to jump into the instance and start building up the numbers. That would be really, really good. So please do that. Cyberboff is also in the instance. Who needs a wing? So please invite Cyberboff into your wing, and then that should allow you to jump into this area as well. Now I'm also free, so Aussie, I think. Let me have a look if I can do that. Isaiah's still in my wing at the moment, trying to drop in. I hope. Let's see. So if you're in my instance, then you don't need to be in a wing any longer. Ask somebody who isn't in the instance to invite you into their wing. So hopefully it'll work reasonably well. Yeah, we do have a lot of problems with the instancing. I'm probably trying to get lots and lots of ships in, but let's keep working on it. We've got plenty of time, so just keep working it through. Let's see if we can get Isaiah in as well. I can see him moving around as a dot, but it's not working 100% at the moment. And then park up, but obviously by the this fleet carrier. Wings are not working well tonight. I'll see if I can invite you in a moment, Tekra. I'm just going to give Isaiah a moment to try and jump in. He's struggling, so we might have to come back to you, Isaiah, I'm afraid, which is a bit of a shame. I'm going to leave the wing and just try somebody else, and we'll just keep moving back. Wings are not working well tonight. There's always a problem, you know. It's one of those frustrating things. Let's see how many we can get in. Right, so please make the best use of it. Try and make sure you're in a wing of 3 before you ask for one of us in the instance to invite you in, because that's gonna get as many sort of bang for the buck as possible, if that makes sense. But huge thanks to Isaiah, Eisen and Zenith this evening for getting me in getting safely to the anomalclaw system. So I've just received a wing invite. So what you do is jump into the instance here. So if you're in the instance and you can't see me, you jump out, and then you jump back, and then hopefully the wing mechanism will put you in the right instance, and then once you're in the right instance you can drop the wing. Right, so let me, I've got some wing invitations received here. Let me work down, where are they? Okay, so Aussie, let's go with you first. So, okay, so Aussie, Storm Raider and Seth Eridan, you are now in the same wing as me. Can you see if you can jump into my instance? See if it works. The Claw system where instancing goes to die. Maybe it is. What's the music tonight? All shall be revealed, Frank Miner. It's an appropriate piece for, obviously, this final episode of the Law Tour. FTEV, the message shall not be heard. Stop them at all costs. Break the instancing. Let's hope the game kind of holds together a little bit longer. So, Storm Raider, Aussie and Seth Eridan, hopefully you're on the way into this instance. Reg W, is it the FE2 theme? No, it's not. We've used that already. We have had the FE2 theme already. So I'm not using that one tonight. It will be something else. So we'll see. Will we see you from time to time? Yes, I will. I will probably pop into the game every so often. I'm not planning on kind of deleting it from my hard drive or anything stupid like that. But basically, what I'm not going to do is not going to be commenting or making any content for Elite Dangerous from this point forward. So I'll keep my account set. It'll still be about. You might see me in the game from time to time doing some things. I see. Obviously, I don't see Drew. Come on, instancing work. Let's see how many ships. I don't know how many ships we've got at the moment. Let's have a look around. Instancing in Elite Dangerous is an art form. I can see a fair number of ships here already, which is good. Quite a lot of clippers, which is always nice to see. So there's a good number of ships here. So again, please keep trying. If you've got a ship and you're in my instance, please try to invite as many other people in as possible. Yeah, same here. See Stefan Nice, but not Drew trying in and out again. Okay, keep trying, guys. We'll give you another shot at that. That would be really good. Just realised I should really. I'm going to zoom my scanner out a little bit so we can see all the ships. Instancing is a bit black magic. It is, I'm afraid. So see the signal, but no. That's so frustrating that it's just not logging you in. A lot of it, I think, is geolocation. It depends on where you are and all that kind of stuff. So please try and get as many ships in as we can during the time that we've got available. So that's always good. Get an RTX 3090, Drew. Is it Galactica? No, it's not Galactica either. We've had that one too. Galactica is one of the best themes actually for doing a hyperspace jump, I think. Cyberboth here. I am in the instance. Okay, so there we go. So Big Boo, maybe try Cyberboth. There's only two of us here, but I can't find. It's part geolocation, part wing squadron friend, and it's part luck, says Army Scroll. We need as much luck as possible, so keep trying to get into the instance. I'll give each wing a reasonable chance to get in with me. Fingers crossed we can get as many ships as possible into the same instance. So let's keep trying. Star Citizen maybe. Well, I suppose the advantage there is the servers are specific. There's only one world, isn't it? But there we go. So let's bring all the instancing in. Pray to the Lady of Fate. Lady of Fate, we implore you. Randomius Factoria. Yes, so we should definitely we should say something to her. Thank you, by the way, again, for all the people who bought fleet carriers as well. I do appreciate all the efforts that people have made to bring those along. And thank you, particularly the ones that have renamed their fleet carriers in kind of little homage to me. That does really, really kill. Can we kill Drew in combat zones? Just kill me off right at the end. You're all mean. Stargate. We've also done Star Trek. No. So that's a bit the theme tune from Star Citizen. Actually, I must admit the music in Star Citizen is quite nice. But I must admit I've always liked the music in Elite Dangerous as well. I did appreciate the work done by the original composer. Okay, so Cyberwolf has got a thing. How are you doing, Storm Raider Aussie and Seth Eridan? I'm going to maybe give somebody else a try in a moment, I'm afraid. It's just so annoying that we can't get all these things together. Let's just see if there's anybody there. There is a ton of music for SC as well, yeah. So, but the ED, yes, the ED sound design is absolutely super. Massive props to Zenith for the excellent waypointing. Absolutely. There's quite a few ships in here now. This is good. We've got a good number in here now. We should try and jump as the carrier jumps. Is the carrier set to go at a certain point in time? Because it's quite fun to watch those go. I don't know actually who owns this carrier, so when is it going to go? That's quite cool. Is the music from Cannon Fodder? Love it. Right. Okay. So I'm going to try a different wing. I'm afraid, guys. We can't get you in there. Keep trying different ways, but try and give as many people an opportunity as possible, if that makes sense. So apologies for that. We're going to just keep trying. There isn't a jump planned. That's okay. So we're just using it literally as a rendezvous point. Let's. I'm just going to leave that wing. If somebody wants to send me a wing invite, please do. I've got a few stacked up here. There we go. Commander Techeron is here. Let's. I wouldn't mind Commander Techeron being here for reasons that I'm sure I don't need to explain. Let's see if I can get him once I've left the wing. Let's see if that'll work. Where are you, Techeron? There you are. Right, let's try that. Right, Techeron, Gilgamesh, and Electro 4 Ace, I think that is. See if you can jump into my instance as well. I've got a few friend requests there, I've just noticed as well. There we go. Let's see how that works. Again, keep dropping. Oh, somebody's already here. So Gilgamesh is already here. Gilgamesh, you can definitely drop the wing because you're present in the instance. So feel free to drop out and invite some more people in. You're here, which is really, really good. Techeron and Electro Ace are trying to get in as well, which is great. So we'll keep doing that. Please just keep trying to get as many people in as possible. We'll start organising for the jump at about 10 o'clock. I need to choose, actually, while I'm doing this, I need to choose a target system. Let's have a look at that. I don't know which direction. Timo can. Sounds like a reasonable place maybe to aim for. Which direction is it? That is behind us, so actually we're pointing the wrong way, so let's go back the other way. Let's try maybe the Perkit system. Let's try that one. Nope, that's in the opposite direction. It's always the way. Let's try that was not very exciting names around here, are they? What about that one? Let's see what that looks like from our perspective. Okay, that's going exactly the wrong way. Galaxy map. Let's try that one. Ideally we want something that's sort of ahead of us. There we go, that's not too bad. Okay, so that's where we're going to be jumping. The Airwolf theme. Yeah, unfortunately he's a little bit too far away for us to go. So let's go there. Trianguli sector. I think it's TO-Q. I'm not sure that's a 0 or an O. I think it's an O. Q A5-0. Set your hyperspace coordinates to that star system, commanders. Electro Ace is here. Okay, fantastic, Electro Ace. If you can drop from the wing and invite anybody else's wing in, that would be awesome. Very, very cool. That's really, really cool. So, is this the last stream, says Commander One? Yes, it is. It's the last stream I'm doing for Elite Dangerous. It's my last episode of my farewell tour. And I'm finishing on a very high note, so I do appreciate everybody who's come along to join us here. Really, really appreciate all the company and all the fleet carriers and everything that's been done on my behalf. Really, really appreciate it. It's been good. Approaching 11 p.m. CET. Need to head off, guys. Thank you so much for reenacting that great evening. Won't ever forget that night. CD Resin, thank you very much for your company. Appreciate you turning up. Sorry, just running on a bit late, but spherical planet, really annoying time zones, right? Thanks for being such an important part and voice of the community for so many years, Drew. 07, absolutely, Commander Wayland, absolutely. Thank you very much. Can't really say I've got to get back to work, but passing by, just thank you for the books and all the law vids. My pleasure, Corvette ZR11. Really appreciate that. Techeron, how are you doing, sir? Are you managing to get in? It's just so annoying that this instancing doesn't work. No luck yet. Sorry, says Techeron. You're not setting the controls for the Heart of the Sun for the last jump. If I could, I would. Yeah, I need to kind of roll off into the sunset, perhaps, don't I? That would be really, really good. Right, we're approaching the 10 o'clock mark. So looks like Techeron's not being lucky, which is just so unfortunate. QFH is departing for Trianguli sector in 15 minutes. So there we go. That's the jump organisation there. That's really, really good. I'm obviously recording this. I will upload to YouTube as well, so that would be good. See if the carrier is set to jump. Okay, that's good. So we could probably, time-wise, we're probably okay. Let's wait and watch the carrier jump. I'm just thinking, which end are the engines? Which way is it going to go? Am I at the back of the ship or the front of the ship? I think we're at the back. We're possibly a little bit close, excuse me, to the fleet carrier. I don't know. Are we at I'm at the front. Okay, so it's gonna come towards. I think we might be a bit close to it. it might be a sensible precaution for us to also move a little bit of a safe way. Oh, I'm at the back. It might be prudent for us to move a little bit of a safe way away from the fleet carrier, just so we don't get disrupted by its jump when it does in fact go. So let's do that. I'm gonna do a very small formation. So if you can, no wait, we are at the back. So let's fly away from it a little bit. I think we need to get to about 2 kilometers away to be safe. So I'm going to move gently away. So if you're in my instance, follow me around, and we will just move gently away from the fleet carrier to make sure that we don't all get disrupted or destroyed by the fleet carrier when it moves off. You don't need to be too far away, just a reasonable little bit of distance. That'll probably do there, I think. Let's just turn around. So there we go. I don't know what's happened to Eisen. Has anybody seen Eisen since he lost his link? There we go. So there's the fleet carrier. There are a lot of ships here. I think that's probably a safe distance. There we go, and we can watch it go. So if you can see me in your instance, then form up behind me. Golden Knight, one full message before I go. Wishing you well. Legacy will live on. At least I hope it will. I've got too many other adventures to go on to focus on Saturday in the story. But take care, Mr. Wagar. Semper Bellum. Absolutely, Golden Knight. We appreciate that. And obviously, right on, Commanders. So that's good. So what we'll do is we'll let the fleet carrier go, and then we will engage the music for the final jump. Looks like Techeron's got stuck, unfortunately, which is a real shame. I was hoping we could get into the instance with him. We'll let him try one more time, see if he can jump in. Killed by the FC Wake. That would be a good ending. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Eisen is offline, so I don't know if he's lost his internet or his PC's gone, or which is oddly enough is precisely what happened to him on the night of Salomé's demise, which is a bit scary. So I hope he's okay. So fingers crossed, nothing catastrophic's happened to him. I'm upside down. I am, aren't I? I'll try it with someone else quickly. Right. Okay. Thanks, Techeron. Right. In that case, my wing is once more open. Let's have a look. Who's in my? Right. I've got no pending wing invites at the moment. So if you've got a wing of 3, hit me up. I do have to roll 100. There we go. The fleet carrier's upside down. So send me a wing invite. There we have lots of them coming in. I don't know. Don't know who was first. Let's go for Urban Sparks. I think you were one of the early ones. All right, Urban Sparks, Manta Bloke, and Dazjav. See if you can find your way into the instance as well. Let me just switch off that voice comms. My wing beacon is on, so you should be able to see me. Fingers crossed. See if you can get yourself into the instance. And again, like I said, anybody who is who's in my instance who can see me, again, advertise your name in the chat and in the game as much as you can to see how many people we can pull in. That would be really, really cool. I think we're waiting. Lots of those asking for invite shows unreachable to those of us in your instance. That's just unfortunate. It's so Urban Sparks, Manta Bloke, and Daz, you need to jump into Super Cruise and then attempt to come back for the instancing to work. Yeah, that's the way to do that. We've got quite a large number of ships. Let's just have another external view while we're here. It's looking nice and busy. In fact, it's so busy I can't get the camera away from the ship. So there's lots of ships about, which is really, really good. And we'll wait for that fleet carrier to go. I don't think it's all that far now. There's a nice selection of ships, looking really, really good. So thank you for bringing all your vessels along for this. There we go. There we go. Look, a nice crate. Everybody likes a crate. I like the crate. So please keep trying. There are a lot of ships here, which is really good. But there's always space for more if we can make it work. It's definitely a ragtag fleet, isn't it? Definitely a ragtag fleet. So we've got about 10 minutes before the fleet carrier goes, I think. So ships are coming in. That's good. We've got 10 minutes. There we go. So 10 minutes is basically, there's the 10-minute warning for the fleet carrier. So we will watch that go, and then they will depart ourselves. So as many people as we can get into the instance in the next 10 minutes, my friends. That's the aim. So I hope what I would encourage you. So if you love your lore in Elite Dangerous and you love your storytelling, there is no reason at all that any of you can't get together as a group and write your own story. It needs a bit of determination. You need to do a bit of waving your own flag and getting some social media awareness of what you want to do and stuff. But we didn't have anything much more than that at the start of all this. We campaigned to get attention from Frontier to allow us to do different events, and I did have an inside line in the sense that I had the Kickstarter to get the original book, and I campaigned hard to get the second one. But nothing's impossible. But if you want to run another event in the game, then go for it. Take what we did for Salomé, take what we did for the Battle of Lu, take what we did for the Knossos and Distant Worlds 1 and Distant Worlds 2, and go do it. Okay, go and do it yourselves. You can do it. Okay, this game is made by the fans in many ways. Yes, the game is amazing, and Frontier's done an amazing job of making Elite Dangerous itself. Okay. Oh, it looks like we got that wing in excellently. Okay, so Urban Sparks, I'm going to drop that wing. Looks like you managed to make it, which is great. Let me drop that wing so I can bring another one in. That's awesome. So yeah, the sky's the limit. Go and make events like this that are better. Better than the ones that we did. Okay, so myself and the people involved with Salomé, we're very much the old guard now. Okay. We've been there, we've done that. Don't try and copy us. Do something bigger, do something better. All right. Enjoy those sort of things, and see what you can. We're getting close now. I'm now getting wary that we're going to bust the game. Let's see how it goes. Who have we got here? SP4. So I don't know how well this organises itself. Let's go for Rasputin Man. Who have we got there? Rasputin Man. Tekaron is in that wing as well, so maybe Tekaron gets another shot. Let me see if I can just close off the comms because it will screw up my audio settings here. There we go. Tekaron, Rasputin Man, and Nim Duskrin. Go for it. See if you can get into the instance. We have a lot of ships here now, so it's looking really good. It's the Harry Potter theme. I hope the upcoming MIDI is a hopeful tune and not. It is a very hopeful tune. Okay, it's appropriate for what we're doing today. Let's put it that way. It's not all melancholy. Okay, it's nice and upbeat. I didn't want to go out on a melancholy note. All right. This is a celebration of all the good stuff. Okay, so back in the day, the Salomé affair was quite controversial, and there was lots of angst about it. But it's memorable. We did a thing. People still talk about it today. And I'd rather be memorable than boring, right? So we did a thing. But again, for those of you playing now who are new to this thing, oh well, we missed that. Those days are all behind us. Yes, those days are behind us. But there's no reason why the future of the game can't be as famous and as big and as cool as some of the things that we did in the past. Go and think of the ideas, and have my absolute blessing to go and do cool stuff. Okay, Odyssey will allow different possibilities. Okay, there's new stories, new super duper amazing player events that can be created. Okay, go create them. All right, go create them. Go do it. All right, I will look on with and read about them with great interest. For me though, it's time for me to step out the way and go and do some other stuff. So the way is clear. Okay, go and do some cool stuff. Right, how are we doing? We are probably down to only a few minutes before the fleet carrier goes, so we will watch that go and then we'll queue up for the jump. I think we're doing pretty well here. I can see people in the wing here as well. I've got no idea how many ships we've got in here now, but it is a lot. Let me just fly the camera out to the front of the ship and let's see how it's going. Yeah. That is a proper armada we have there. That's looking very cool indeed. So there we go. Look at the number of ships. Okay, so for the actual jump, I'll explain that when we get a little bit closer. It's very important you follow the protocol so we all jump simultaneously. Okay, very, very important. But we'll explain that in a moment. For those of you who haven't done it before, it's very, very good. Be creative. Be creative. and just do the things. If you want to do a lore event, if you want to do some big game thing, go and go do it. You absolutely have my blessing to go and do new things, and you should be able to now with all the stuff the game can do that we didn't have back then. Do bigger and crazier things than we did. Don't be scared. Be ambitious. Is always my motto. Don't be mediocre. Mediocre. Don't do that. Don't spray yourself with shiny stuff. Okay, shiny and chrome. Don't do that. That's very, very bad. Isaiah Evans says one thing to check out. There are 2 unofficial novels that Matt Lehman wrote. Yes, so follows up the story of some of the nice stuff. So there's stuff to read, as well as all that kind of stuff as well. So we should make a screenshot forming ships, forming the name of Drew. That's going to take us way too long to organise. Witness me. I must admit, I did enjoy that film. So there we go. So we'll do that. Right, the fleet carrier is about to jump. I think we're down to the last few minutes. Any word on Harry Potter's double FSD interdictors back then? I don't know, to be honest, Andy Pipkin. The details are a little bit fuzzy to me now after 4.5 years. I know he definitely had some advantages in that thing, but there we go. The carrier's now suspended its services. Looks like I won't make it, unfortunately, says Techeron. We'll jump with you in spirit. Right on, Commander. And again, thoughts with you for the difficulties that you've had in the last few weeks. But the community's there for you, Commander. So right on. So again, check you have your hyperspace destination set to the trianguli sector TO-Q A5-0. That very snappy name. So there we go. I'm going to drop the wing now just to be cautious. Do not want the game to crash at this point. Shame we couldn't get Techeron into the wing, which is just if only we had proper instancing. But anyway, we are almost there. Right, there goes the wing. There's a lot of ships here. This is very cool. Oops, let's make sure I'm in the right mode. Let's just have another look out the front before the fleet carrier goes. In fact, what I'll do, I might back up the camera in a moment and we can just watch the fleet carrier. Look at the size of the fleet. It's awesome. It's just dozens and dozens of ships, which is really, really cool. So let's just fly back. I'll keep it on external view then while the fleet carrier is ready to jump. Let's bring that down, and we can be amidst the ships as much as possible as the fleet carrier goes. There we go. Look at that. Let's go down a little bit. There we go. Loads of ships awaiting the fleet carrier's departure. Techeron might get in. Let's keep trying. Keep trying. Mythic says it makes the game so much more enjoyable once I created a backstory and my stuff. Yeah, so I've always been a big fan of role playing in these kind of games because they suit themselves to it. Because MMO content is always a bit sparse. There's not much you can do about it. So create your stories. Create your stories with friends as well. I've met so many people through Elite Dangerous that are proper friends in real life. And I'm hoping a lot of you will kind of continue to follow me in all those various different forms. I'm still going to be around. Okay, I'm still going to be doing stuff. So it's not like I'm disappearing off the planet. But we've had a really good run in doing kind of these things, and it's lovely to see so many of you here on this final super duper jump that we're going to do. He's in my wing now, yay! So create your own stories, bring other people to be part of them, role play them out, and roll with the ups and the downs of those stories because that makes the drama. Glenn, are you still there? I can't really get back out of this now, otherwise I'm going to screw up the imaging. We're just waiting for that fleet carrier. I'll give you a try once the fleet carrier goes. Here we go. The fleet carrier is off. Look at that. Boom. I do like this effect. Let me just angle the camera so you can all see it. Forgot the chat window's there. Right, so don't anybody else jump at the moment. Stay in formation. Okay, stay in formation. There goes the fleet carrier. Which always is cool. That spooky sort of dusky sort of hyperspace effect is really, really, really well weird. There it goes. It is departed. There we go. A Dutch angle. It's just a Batman style angle. There we go. Right, we are now ready to go, my friends. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's see if I can get Glenn, the Commander Terra Firma is well, he's unknown at the moment. There you go, Glenn. See if you can get in. We are going to do now a rolling move forwards. Okay, so the trick here is equalize your pips to engines. So you've only got a couple of pips into the engines, and it keeps you nice and steady. We're going to do a slow rolling cruise, okay, towards the hyperspace jump point. So we're going to set our speeds to 100 meters per second. Okay, that's the trick. So I'm going to do that first. Be careful not to nudge any of the ships around you. Set your speed to 100 meters per second. Okay, it's important that we don't go too fast. Okay. Point your nose at the hyperspace jump point. Set your speed to 100 meters per second, as close as you can. I managed to get mine to 101. There we go. Get yourself into formation behind me as best you can. But do not engage hyperspace, and do not throttle up to full speed. Okay, somebody's just jumped. Don't jump yet. Set yourself to 100 meters per second, and then get back into formation behind me. Okay, so what we should have, if I'm looking behind me, is a long list of ships all traveling in formation. There we go. Look at that. It's an amazing fleet of ships. Okay. Try not to do any violent maneuvers when you're in formation, because there are a lot of ships very close by. Okay, a lot of ships very, very close by. Godspeed, Drew. I have to run. We'll catch the last jump on the rewind, Birdbrain. Good to see you, my friend. Take care. So there should be a lot of ships kind of holding station around. There we go. That's looking good. Okay, so we've got a lovely angle there for the jump. Right. The other thing I now need you to concentrate on is your timer. Top right of your screen is the in-game timer. All right, it's very important, because in order to synchronize the jump, we all have to jump on the in-game timer. So ignore anything that's on your PC, ignore anything that's on Twitch. You're looking at your in-game timer. We are going to jump precisely at 22:05. Okay, so what I want you to do is, at this point, charge your hyperspace drive. Okay, do not, I repeat, do not throttle up. Okay, so do not go to full speed. Charge your hyperspace drive, but do not throttle up. Okay, do not throttle up. What I want you to do at 22:25 precisely on your clock, okay, that's when you throttle up. All right, 22:25. Okay, so did I say 22:05? That's a mistake. 22:25. I want you to throttle up. Do not throttle up before 22:25 on your HUD. Okay, 22:25 is when we're going to throttle up. If everybody throttles up at the same moment at 22:25, everybody should have their hyperspace jump charged by now, because it gives just a few minutes to get them going. Everyone will hyperspace simultaneously. Okay, 22:25 is when we're going for. All right, see if you can get that to work. Looks like Glenn has actually managed to get into my instance. Yay! So that's good. Okay, so do not go to premature hyperspace. All right. Just don't do it. 22:25 is when I need you to throttle up. Right. Let me just. I just need to prep a few bits and pieces here. So, as you know, for those of you who haven't done this, but those of you who know what's coming up, I always put together a bit of music. Okay, for music to jump to. What's the time? It's 22:25. That's what we're aiming for. Okay, so we'll have a little bit of jump music. All right. Somebody has just throttled up. Don't throttle up. So stay with it. 22:25 is when you're going to throttle up. Okay. Now, what we do on these things is we always jump to a bit of music. So I've had to choose a piece of music that's kind of upbeat. Okay, this is the last of my streams. I want to go out on a high note, and it's the last one. So there's only one piece of music I could think of that was perfect. It's not actually a space theme this time, but it's got some space words in it. What is the jump targets on screen? trianguli sector TO-Q A5-0. Ticker on is here. Yes, ticker on. Yeah, you're here at last. Right. Do not jump. Do not jump prematurely. Right. The music is about to start, and then I will activate the external cameras. So 22:25, my friends, go to full throttle. We should all jump simultaneously. Here we go, my friends. There's only one piece of music I could come up with for this one, and this is it. And there they go. Well done, my friends. That was a fantastic jump. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely amazing. So I hope you have enjoyed the tour. I hope you've enjoyed my shenanigans along the way. What a way to finish up. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much indeed for everybody who's turned up, for the fleet carriers, for the escort tonight, for the reminiscing about Salomé, everything else that's involved there. Thank you very much for making that a really special day for me. And hopefully you had a good time as well. So I really appreciate that. All it really remains to me to say is thank you so much to obviously everybody on the stream tonight, everybody who's followed me on YouTube, everybody who's bought my books over the years, listened to my stories, listened to me whinging and complaining about things, everything else. Just a huge thank you very much. Huge thoughts with Tekkaron obviously today with what he's been through, but and thank you to the entire elite community at large. Thank you to Frontier for creating such a brilliant game for us to all enjoy. It's been a blast. Let's leave it like that. It's been an absolutely great time. Thank you ever so much. Just one last thing from me really, as I've got a little video just to go out on, which is my way of just saying thank you to everybody. I will leave you with that. As always, my friends, right on, Commanders. Right on, Commanders. And 07. See you out in the black.